I have concerns, and now Michael has the same concerns.
I have concerns because you're still communicating with Michael. Your friend is trying to this connection, and you're like, yay! Okay. It's like, I don't get it. I enjoy pretty much violence. Do you like
I like this movie, or?
violence?
Intimidation, hostility, and outright threats of violence. Yeah, I'd say
The moment he said he likes violence more than movies, the room went silent. You could feel the tension through the screen. One man sitting on the couch, staring straight ahead, not even trying to hide the anger. The other guy standing there, trying to smile, trying to act normal, but you can tell he already knows he walked into the wrong apartment at the worst possible time. And the strange part is this meeting was never supposed to happen like this. So how did a simple visit turn into a situation where someone starts talking about violence like it is normal conversation? Right from the first second, the energy feels off. No friendly welcome, no small talk, no effort to make things comfortable. Instead, you get short answers, cold looks, and that kind of silence that makes everyone in the room nervous. When someone says he enjoys violence while staring at the guy who just showed up to see his girlfriend, that is not a joke. That is a warning. And the scary part is this tension did not start in that apartment. It started long before the door even opened. To understand why this meeting feels so explosive, you have to go back a little. Because this is not just about one awkward visit, this is about 3 people who already had problems before they ever sat in the same room together. Laura is in the middle of it, trying to make her relationship work while also staying close to a friend her boyfriend never trusted. The boyfriend, Beran, thinks that friend crossed the line a long time ago. And the friend, Michael, decided to show up anyway without waiting for permission, without waiting for the right time, without even asking if it was a good idea. Now think about that for a second. If someone you do not trust suddenly flies to the same country where you are trying to fix your relationship, would you stay calm? Most people would not. And that is exactly why this meeting feels less like a visit and more like a challenge. Because when someone shows up uninvited in the middle of a struggling relationship, there is always a reason, and it is usually not a simple one. What makes this even more complicated is that Laura does not look completely upset about it. She looks nervous, yes, but also a little excited, like part of her wanted this confrontation to happen. That is where things start to feel strange. If your relationship is already fragile, why bring the one person your partner does not trust into the same space? Unless something deeper is going on that nobody wants to say out loud yet. And the more you watch this moment, the more it feels like this was never about one visit. It feels like the relationship was already cracking, and this meeting only exposed what was hiding under the surface the whole time. Because when a situation explodes this fast, it usually means the damage was already done before anyone knocked on that door. Before that uncomfortable meeting ever happened, things were supposed to be going in the right direction. The whole trip to Turkey was meant to fix problems, not create new ones. You could see Beran trying hard to make everything look perfect. Nice places, planned activities, romantic spots, the kind of effort people make when they know the relationship is not as strong as it should be. On the surface, it looked sweet. He was taking her out, showing her history, walking through old ruins, acting like this trip was going to bring them closer again. But when someone is trying this hard all the time, you start wondering if it is coming from love or from pressure. The strange thing is, Laura seemed happy in those moments, but not fully relaxed. She smiled. She laughed. She said she appreciated the effort, yet there was always something in the way she talked that felt like she was still unsure. Like she wanted to believe everything was fine, but she was not completely convinced. And when a couple needs a special trip just to feel normal again, That usually means the problems started long before the plane ticket was booked. Because when a relationship needs this much fixing, one small mistake is enough to break the whole thing again. Beran kept saying he wanted to prove himself, and you could tell he was trying to show he could be the man she wanted. Planning the day, choosing places she likes, acting patient even when conversations got awkward. But at the same time, some of it felt less natural, and more like he was doing homework. Like he knew he had to get everything right, or he might lose her. And when someone feels like they are being tested all the time, that pressure can turn into frustration fast. The real tension started to show when old problems came up again. Money issues, past mistakes, talk about gambling, talk about trust. These were not new topics. They had argued about this before, and every time it came back, the same question appeared again. Can she trust him, and does he believe she is on his side? Those conversations never end clean. They stay in the background, waiting for the next fight. And once trust starts to shake, every small situation starts to feel bigger than it should. That is where Michael comes back into the picture. Not as the boyfriend, not as the enemy, at least not officially. He is the friend, the one she says she can talk to, the one she says gives honest advice. But when the first person you go to with your relationship problems is not your partner, that already tells you something is off. Beran never liked that connection, and he made that clear from the start. To him, Michael was not just a friend. He was someone waiting for the right moment to step in. And the moment that changed everything was not when Michael arrived in Turkey. It was earlier, when Laura decided to tell him about their problems instead of talking to the man she was supposed to be fixing things with. Because the second you take your relationship worries to someone your partner does not trust, you are not fixing the problem anymore. You are opening the door for a bigger one. The real problem started the moment Laura admitted she had been talking to Michael about everything. Not small talk, not casual updates, but the serious stuff. The doubts, the arguments, the things she was not even saying directly to Beran. And once that came out, the mood changed fast. Because to Beran, this was not harmless. In his mind, the one person he never trusted was now the same person she was going to for advice about their relationship. That alone was enough to make him feel like the situation was already slipping out of his control. And when someone feels like control is gone, anger usually shows up right after. Beran never hid how he felt about Michael. From the beginning, he believed the friendship was not as innocent as it sounded. He kept saying there was another intention there, something under the surface. Laura kept defending it, saying Michael was only trying to help, only giving his opinion, only being supportive. But the more she explained it, the less convinced Beran looked, because from his point of view, if a man is always around when your relationship is struggling, there is a reason for that. And the question nobody wanted to say out loud was simple. Is he helping, or is he waiting? Things got worse when Laura revealed something she should have probably said earlier. Michael was not only giving advice from far away, he had already decided to come to Turkey. No long discussion, no careful planning, no agreement from anyone. He booked the flight and told her after. That is the moment where the whole situation stopped looking like friendship and started looking like a move. Because people do not fly across the world in the middle of someone else's relationship drama unless they think they have a chance to change the outcome. Now you can look at this from different sides. Maybe Michael thought he was protecting her. Maybe he felt she was not safe, not happy, not sure about her future. That happens. But at the same time, showing up without being asked puts pressure on everyone. It puts Laura in the middle, it makes Beran feel disrespected, and it turns a private relationship problem into something that feels like a competition. And you have to ask yourself honestly, if you were in this situation, what would you think? If your partner kept talking to someone you did not trust, then suddenly that same person shows up in the same country while you are trying to fix things, would you believe it was innocent? Most people would start asking the same questions Beran was asking. Who wants this relationship to work, and who is hoping it falls apart? Because once a third person enters at the worst possible moment, every action starts to look like strategy instead of coincidence. The problem is, nobody stopped it before it got this far. Laura kept talking to Michael, Beran kept getting more suspicious, and Michael kept moving closer to the situation instead of staying out of it. By the time they realized how bad it looked, the decision had already been made. The ticket was booked, the flight had landed, and whether anyone liked it or not, Michael was already on the way. When you step back and look at this situation without picking sides, the whole thing starts to feel less like a random argument and more like a pattern. Laura keeps going to Michael whenever she feels unsure, even when she knows Beran hates that. That tells you something about where she feels comfortable. People do not open up like that unless they feel understood. At the same time, that kind of connection can confuse things fast, especially when the person listening is someone your partner already sees as a threat. And once emotional support starts coming from the wrong place, the relationship at home starts to feel weaker even if nobody admits it. From Beran's side, the fear does not look small either. When he hears that Michael is flying to the same country while they are trying to fix things, he does not see a friendly visit. He sees someone stepping into his place. That reaction might sound jealous, but jealousy usually comes from feeling insecure about losing something. And in his case, losing the relationship might not be the only thing on his mind. He talked before about the future, about marriage, about plans that depend on everything working out. So when another man suddenly shows up, it hits more than one nerve at the same time. Because when your future depends on a relationship staying strong, any outside pressure feels twice as dangerous. Now about Michael, this is where people start arguing. Some think he is being loyal, showing up because he cares. Others think the timing looks too perfect to be innocent. He waited until the relationship looked shaky, then booked a flight without asking anyone. That does not prove anything by itself, but it does make people wonder. When someone enters the picture right when things are falling apart, it always raises the same question. Is he helping her, or is he hoping she chooses him instead? Even Laura looks a little conflicted when she talks about it. She says she is stressed, but there is also a small smile like part of her likes knowing two men are fighting for her attention. That does not mean she planned it, but it does mean the situation gives her something she was missing before, and that is validation. The talk about the future makes everything heavier. Beran mentioned marriage more than once, and when he talks about it, you can hear both hope and pressure in his voice. Some viewers think his worry is about love. Others think he is also thinking about what comes after marriage, like moving to the United States. Nobody can say for sure, and it would not be fair to accuse him of anything without proof, but you can understand why the idea crosses people's minds. When a relationship mixes feelings with life plans, every argument starts to sound like it has bigger consequences, and that is why this situation feels so tense, because nobody knows if they are fighting for love, for security, or for something in between. While all of this is going on, the clock is moving forward. Laura keeps saying she hopes the meeting will not turn into a disaster. Beran keeps saying he does not trust Michael. And Michael is already on his way from the airport. No more time to talk. No more time to calm down. The moment everyone was worried about is getting closer, and once he walks through that door, there is no way to pretend everything is normal anymore. The moment the phone rang, you could see Laura's face change. She tried to act calm when she answered, but The way she looked at Beran before speaking already told you this was not a normal call. A few seconds later, she said the words that made the whole room feel smaller. Michael had landed, and he wanted to come over right now. Not later, not tomorrow, not after everyone cooled down. Right now. You could almost hear the tension hit the walls. Beran did not even try to hide his reaction. His face went stiff, his eyes locked on her, like he was waiting for her to say she was joking. She was not joking. And the second he realized the visit was happening whether he liked it or not, the mood changed from nervous to dangerous. Laura kept explaining that Michael only needed a place to wait because his hotel was not ready yet, but the explanation did not make anything better. If anything, it made the situation feel more forced. Out of all the places he could go, he chose the one apartment where the one person who does not trust him is sitting. You do not need to be an expert to know that is going to end badly. Beran started asking questions, short ones, the kind people ask when they are already angry but trying not to explode. Why is he coming here? Why now? Why did you not tell me earlier? Laura answered, but her voice sounded unsure, like she knew none of the answers would make him feel better. Because when trust is already weak, every explanation sounds like an excuse no matter how true it is. What makes the moment even stranger is that Laura looks stressed, but not only stressed. There is also this small smile that shows up when she talks about Michael coming. Not a big smile, not something obvious, but enough to make you wonder what she is feeling inside. Maybe she likes knowing someone cared enough to fly across the world for her. Maybe she hates the situation, but also enjoys the attention. People are complicated like that. You can be worried and flattered at the same time, and that mix can make things even more confusing for everyone around you. Then came the waiting. No shouting, no big fight yet, just silence filling the room. Beran sitting there, not saying much, but his body language says everything. Laura moving around, trying to act normal, talking about small things that nobody is really listening to. The air feels heavy, like everyone knows something uncomfortable is about to happen, but nobody knows exactly how bad it will get. This is the kind of moment where even the smallest comment can start a fight. And when people sit in silence like this, it is not peace, it is pressure building before something breaks. You start asking yourself what the meeting is going to look like. Will they shake hands and pretend everything is fine? Will someone lose their temper? Will Laura get stuck between them again, trying to calm both sides at the same time? Nobody in that room looks ready for a friendly conversation. Everyone looks ready for a test, and nobody wants to fail it. Then the sound finally comes. A knock on the door. One short knock, but it feels louder than anything that happened before. And in that second, you know the moment they were all worried about is no longer coming. It is here. The door opened, and the energy changed instantly. Laura looked relieved for half a second, like she was happy the waiting was over, but that feeling disappeared as soon as the two men saw each other face to face. The greeting was polite on the surface, but it felt forced. A quick hello, a handshake that lasted a little too long, eyes locked in a way that was not friendly at all. Nobody raised their voice, nobody started yelling, yet the tension in the room felt stronger than any argument. You could tell both of them had already made up their minds about each other before a single word was spoken. And when two people meet with that kind of attitude, the conversation is never going to stay normal for long. They sat down, and the silence came back again. Michael tried to make small talk, asking what Beran was watching, trying to act like this was just another casual visit. Beran answered without even looking at him, short and cold, like he wanted the conversation to end before it started. The movie playing on the screen happened to be Scarface, which only made the moment feel more uncomfortable. Michael tried to laugh it off, but Beran's face did not change at all. Then came the line that made the whole situation go from awkward to hostile. He said he was not interested in movies. He was interested in violence. He said it slowly, staring straight at Michael, not smiling, not joking. That was the moment you realize this is not about being rude anymore. This is about sending a message without saying it directly. Michael looked confused at first, like he was not sure if he heard it right. He tried to keep the conversation going, but you could see the discomfort on his face. He kept glancing toward Laura, almost like he expected her to step in and change the subject. Laura stayed quiet, stuck between them, smiling nervously, the kind of smile people use when they know things are getting out of control, but they do not know how to stop it. Beran leaned back like he did not care, but his eyes stayed on Michael the whole time, watching every reaction. And when one person keeps testing the other like that, the room starts to feel less like a conversation and more like a challenge. Looking at the three of them together, the differences become obvious. Beran looks defensive, like he feels his place is being threatened. Michael looks confident on the outside, but you can see he is judging everything, every word, every reaction, like he is trying to decide if this relationship is even worth saving. Laura looks caught in the middle, but also strangely calm, like part of her expected this moment all along. Nobody is relaxed, nobody is comfortable, and nobody looks completely innocent either. The twist is that Michael does not come in acting scared. After the first awkward minutes, he starts giving his own opinions, talking about how he worries about Laura, how he is not sure this relationship is healthy for her. That changes the mood again, because now it does not sound like a visit anymore. It sounds like he came with something to prove. And once that happens, Beran's attitude makes more sense, even if the way he shows it feels too aggressive. Because when one man thinks he is protecting her and the other thinks he is losing her, the situation stops being friendly no matter how polite the words sound. By the time the conversation slows down, the damage is already done. Nobody is laughing, nobody is relaxed, and nobody looks like they trust anyone else in that room. Laura looks overwhelmed, Michael looks doubtful, and Beran looks like he is still holding back more than he is saying. At this point, it is hard to say who is right and who is wrong, because every person there has a reason to feel the way they do. And that is what makes the moment so uncomfortable to watch. Because when all three people think they are the one being honest, the truth usually ends up somewhere in the middle, and nobody walks away looking good. Looking back at everything that happened, it is clear nobody in this story comes out looking perfect. Laura wants her fairy tale, the love story she imagined when she said yes. Beran wants stability, a future, control over what he believes is theirs. Michael wants a chance, maybe for love, maybe for validation, maybe just to prove a point. All three are chasing something different, and that difference is what fuels every awkward glance, every short sentence, every tension-filled silence. And when three people want completely different outcomes, there is never a calm moment for long. The pattern is easy to spot if you pay attention. This is exactly how these stories repeat. Someone gets jealous, someone else gets suspicious, secrets slip out, and suddenly everyone is walking on eggshells. The cycle never ends, and each new twist makes the last one look tame. Reality TV thrives on this tension, but for the people living it, every conversation feels like a minefield. You watch and think you understand the story, but the second you turn away, something changes, and you realize you only saw a fragment of what's really happening. And if you've been watching closely, you know that even when it looks resolved, the next twist is already on the way. Now it is worth asking yourself, who is really in the wrong here? Is it Laura sharing things with Michael instead of Beran? Is it Beran letting jealousy dictate his every move? Or is it Michael showing up and stirring the pot when he knew it would create conflict? There are no easy answers, and that's why people keep watching. We are drawn to imperfect people trying to navigate impossible situations, and the more mistakes they make, the more invested we become. And when you start questioning who is right and who is wrong, you are already hooked for what comes next. Emotionally, this relationship is far from stable. The fights, the threats, the passive aggression, none of it is resolved, and the trust has cracks that are too big to ignore. Laura is torn, Beran is defensive, Michael is calculating, and no one seems willing to step back and see the bigger picture. Every new episode will bring more conflicts, more jealousy, more moments where you wonder how anyone survives this mess without losing their mind. And the truth is, this drama is far from over. It is only just beginning. Next episode promises even higher stakes. More fights are coming, more revelations, more awkward confrontations where nobody will leave without having to justify themselves. You can expect jealousy to hit new highs, hidden motives to surface, and Laura's choices to make everyone question what love, control, and loyalty really mean. This story is a chain reaction, and every decision echoes further than anyone can predict. If you think tonight was intense, just wait, because this was only the beginning.